And every independent promotion in Texas has their own unique identity. And there's a lot of great wrestling in Texas. And like we were talking before, there's a flavor for everybody. There's a seat at the buffet for everyone. So if you go to an indie showcase, looking forward to the big main event that we have, Danny O'Ryan versus Carter Black, and you see that Wrestle Rave match, and you're like, damn, this is wholly different. This is going on in Tomball. I'm going to pull up at the next show, and that's what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, we want a new Texas Pro, Texas wrestlers and Texas promotions to really break through on the national scale.
We have Dan Miller. It's been I remember this. That was Bulls on Parade. We're like, yeah, let's go have an interview. Yeah, and it's like, there goes the schedule. So, but thanks for having you on.
Oh, hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, because like, of course, like being part of New Texas. Let's start at the beginning. And you've done your part as a wrestler. Like, tell us like the journey that you've been before we even head into commentary.
Well, originally I'm from upstate New York.
Okay.
And around 2015, 16, I got big into crypto.
Okay.
And
okay,
hold on, I'm getting there.
Hear this.
And there were a lot of regulations in New York at the time that were making it very difficult for, trading and whatnot, and different websites that you could use, etc. So I had a cousin down here and moved down to Texas just because the laws were a little bit different.
Right.
And I'd always been a wrestling fan growing up. My father was a wrestler. I'd always followed it. And my cousin wrestled. So I came down here and I was like, this is just something that I want to try. I want to hit the ropes. I want to, get someone in a headlock. And I'm a little bit more advanced in age than some of the younger wrestlers. So this was a do or die moment for me. And I was in pretty good shape at the time. So I thought, damn it, I love this stuff. I'm going to go do it. So I went and I did it. And I really messed my back up. And now I don't wrestle anymore. So that is the very short story.
Yeah, because it's like coming in from New York, of course, like Texas, we've all been exposed within that wrestling scene. Were there any just like similarities or differences from the East Coast to Texas? Because I know New York is like almost WWE in the sense of how things are run there. But for you to go from New York to Texas, what's that scene like?
At the time, it was vastly different.
Okay.
This was pre-AEW. So a lot of the really big indie names were doing that circuit up there. I would go to a lot of Chikara shows, for instance, and I would see Bullet Club and Orange Cassidy and all those guys who were really making a killing on the indies. Like that scene at the time, back in 2014, 2015 was hot. And I came down here and I started looking at some of the cards and I'm like, they don't really bring any of those guys in. I'm not really familiar with some of these characters. And then I went to the show and I'm like, well, this is the best wrestling in the country. And everybody should be seeing that. And that was my mindset transitioning from being a wrestler to being creative, production, commentary, backstage. I want to get these people seen. I want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to see a Carter Black or a Brian Keith or a Gino or whoever was really popping off at that point in Texas. The world has got to see these people.
Right. Because we have a couple of people that I had in mind who are on the podcast too. And the one person that stood out, and we've had a rapport with O'Day, and the 8th Day was kind of a very interesting faction that I've seen, because it started off like a religious movement as much as I'm like poking at it. But to have O'Day, how much have you contributed to what he's doing character work wise? And when did you see to say, oh, okay, O'Day's doing finally doing his thing on his own with your assistance?
Well, when the 8th Day started, the idea was, and I love this stuff. It is, they were going to be a sponsor for the show. So that first commercial that we made together, was, we're going to make this commercial, we're going to slot it within the show, and people are just going to think that this is not wrestling related.
Right.
People be like, because the phone number was real, is real, you could still call it.
Yep.
The website is real. This is going to be a movement, a cult-like movement, with Father O'Day on top, and eventually that would transition into them coming into the shows, handing out the pamphlets. Oh, this is the sponsor that you've seen. Now they're here, and they've paid us money to carve out this time for them in the show, and they're going to just spread their word. This is not a part of the wrestling proper portion of the event. This is just them buying time, and then that would eventually transition into them wrestling. And I've always loved that. The old WWF vignettes from back in the day, where it wasn't necessarily that, it was someone is coming.
Yeah.
Get ready. So when they finally arrive, you already know who the character is. You already know what they're all about. And then you finally get to see them in the ring, and you could go from there, as opposed to someone coming in cold and they have to build without a foundation that's there already. So I really love that. I love the idea of the group. I love every different way that you could work with the Eighth Day. They work in it. They could be funny. They could be very evil, very serious. And I've just had an absolute blast with the Eighth Day. Everyone who sees the Eighth Day who's not from Texas, who watched the mini movie that we made, or the commercials, or some of the bigger storylines that we've done with them, have loved everything that the Eighth Day does. So that was a real big blessing for me to meet O'Day, work with him, and get the Eighth Day off the ground.
What was, because I remember, I'm not sure what show, this was probably like more recent. There was that segment of, how do I say this in a nice way? The house kidnapping that happened.
Oh, when Father O'Day kidnapped Shawn Hendricks' fiance.
Yeah, that I gotta run through that, because I think it's genius how, on a marketing level, it set off a lot of how do I say, sensationalists kind of a video. Like, how will you know when the real starts to really blur in with the storylines? Kind of like what happened with the kidnapping at that point.
Well, you saw it play out on Texas Contender Series 50.
Yep.
That's as much as I'm going to say about that. But it's another one of those things where, when you have certain circumstances within a show that you have to overcome, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
You have to find creative ways to progress things.
Right.
And O'Day kidnapped Shawn Hendricks's
that
fiance.
blew my mind. I was like, they did not just wait, it's a story.
Well, and here's the thing about wrestling too. Wrestling, you could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can do anything. It's not just match. You can kidnap someone. You could tie them up. You could gag them. You could do whatever you want. You could do whatever you want in wrestling. It's great.
Yeah, because another person that I kind of want to bring up too is Dustin.
Yeah.
And so we're going from the heel to now Dustin going to a face. And a lot of what Dustin does is very heavily influenced with martial arts and kung fu. Like, how much have you contributed to what Dustin's doing? Because he's been doing things great, for quite some time, to where a lot of promotions outside of Texas are like, hey, you should come join, like Pride Style and all of these. Like, how much of the contributions that you've done that leads to Dustin just really blowing up in the indies?
I talked to Dustin a lot about this.
Okay.
Dustin has a very unique quality that makes people connect with him at a very personal level. And what's really important for a character like Dustin is to be the vessel for the fan within the ring.
Okay.
So most wrestling fans, if you've been a wrestling fan for a long time, chances are you were probably bullied in high school, or you've had to face some sort of confrontation with someone where, man, I wish I could really just punch that guy in the face.
Right.
But I can't because I would get arrested.
Yeah.
With a person like Dustin, he could be bullied and he can punch that person in the face. You can get that. He could be the conduit for the fan in the ring, because a lot of the situations that Dustin gets put in, the fan may have been put in that situation throughout their life. And Dustin could do things that you as a normal person who would go to jail couldn't do. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important for Dustin to see how he relates to the fan, and then be that superhero, be that butt kicker in the ring that a fan can't be outside the ring.
Because I think the term that kind of like really associated, it goes back to Japanese wrestling. How has like the fighting spirit been an embodiment to what Dustin is doing?
Well, he's had to come over a lot. He broke his ankle a couple of months ago, probably getting close to a year.
Yeah.
Getting close to a year ago. And he had to come back from that. And now he's walking and moving fine. And just overcoming.
Oh, so it's like
using his unique style. And I think unique styles are very important in wrestling. And everyone at New Texas, everyone on Contenders really has developed their own style. And Dustin is the only Dustin.
Right.
And you could say that. And Danny O'Ryan is the only Danny O'Ryan. And Carter Black is the only Carter Black. He's the only people that do what they do. And that's what makes wrestling cool. Like, wrestling's a buffet. You could have your big, juicy, meaty steak, and then you could have your little puff pastry.
Yeah.
You could have it all.
And it's just like a varied course, whether it's in New Texas or anything like that. There's a lot of variety. There you go.
Yeah.
A lot of variety that would really help with the fans to be a fan of, like, the O-Days or the 8th Days, or with Dustin or anyone else who's in the roster. I was going to ask this too. Who do you think within the New Texas roster is in that level of the Dustins or like the O-Days that they can ascend themselves to that level to relate to the fans, whether they are faces or heels within New Texas?
I fear.
Oh, okay.
I suspect a lot of people sleeping on Timur. Timur has transformed his body. He's transformed his work. He looks better than most guys on the indies. He's tall. He can move, and he can kick a lot of ass. And I see Timur is probably being that next guy to really break out.
Right.
So I would say Timur,
because I saw him at the cookout and just see. I mean, he's with Guardian, so like it is a tag match, but the spots that he's in, I was like, whoa! Like, there was a spot that he did with I forgot what was it. It was I'm trying to remember what the move was. It was basically like it was a suplex, but like the way that he handled it, I was like, whoa, okay, that caught my attention.
Was it that springboard?
Yes. Yeah. So when he did the springboard, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, why did I miss him throughout the entire podcast and stage?
Yeah.
Just seeing like the potential that he's been, and
he's young too.
Oh yeah. He
is so young, and you know, he's really got the world in his hands at this point.
Yeah, because we'll see how, I mean, the 8 Days still growing and seeing where everything's headed, but to move away from the characters to now you doing commentary, because where did that come from?
I was in the creative meetings, and I knew all the wrestlers. I knew I was going to be at every show anyway. I've only missed one Contender Series ever.
Okay.
I've never missed a New Texas show for as long as I've been there. So knowing what we were trying to get across, knowing where we were going, it made it really easy for me to transition into that role. And we were doing kind of a carousel on commentary at that point. Like Hendrix was on commentary. He started commentary. And then Trent, I gotta tell you guys about Trent Gilbo.
Yep.
Trent, he started as a wrestler too. He did some ring announcing, and Kiefer asked him, hey, you got a really good voice. Let's try you on commentary. And he took to it like that. Trent is so great. I love calling shows with Trent. As much guff as I give him, Trent has really become one of like the best independent wrestling commentators. And we just created a really good rapport with each other. And I'm calling him a show with him tonight.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I love calling shows with Trent. And just that kind of relationship that we have made me better at commentary.
Right.
And adding in Eric Bador for the Austin shows we've only called 2 Austin shows together. And after that second one, the last one we did, Bat City, it was like, man, it's like we've been and I don't like doing 3-man booths, but throw Eric in, he's great too. So, I really like doing commentary. I like being able to make sure that the people at home really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I've just had a blast doing commentary as of late.
Because I was thinking, because you mentioned, I think you beat me to my question. So with that too, with Eric, because he has like the entertainment aspect of commentating. Trent has the basically like the analyst portion of how commentary is. Where do you fit in seeing the entertainment aspect, but also seeing like the analyst portion? Do you tend to toe the line to being engaging, but also being analytical when you do commentary?
I try to bring a little bit of levity to the situation sometimes. But also, since I did wrestle for a short period of time, I do know what it's like to be in the ring.
Yeah.
So when you're in deep waters within a match, I know how that feels to be exhausted, to be fighting from underneath, to be, just sweaty and in pain. And that's what I try to do within matches as well, going through the psychology of the wrestler throughout the match. Why would someone do that? What is their motivation in this match? And just stuff like that.
That's fair. And
to be a wise ass.
That's I always hear your commentary.
That's
I love it because like whenever I hear it's like, all right, Eric's gonna say something serious, and then you say something crap. Oh, there it is. There's the balance and everything, in your commentary. So we're recording this just the week before, so it's Sunday the 27th with the Indie Showcase, and I've spoken to Kiefer last year about it. Heard his side of the story. How is it that you contribute with each of the indie showcases?
I started at 2 as a cameraman, and that was the marathon, like 5-hour indie showcase. That one just, it's forever. We had 11 matches on the show. It was crazy. But I just help, pitching matches for New Texas and Texas Contender Series. But Kiefer and I, we just had to sit down before Anime Matsuri, which I would like to touch on just a small amount.
You can do that.
Before Anime Matsuri, we did a sit down that's on the New Texas YouTube page. And we don't book these matches for the other promotions. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a legitimate, what's the word I'm looking for here? Collab. It's a collab.
Collaboration.
It's a legitimate collab among all of these other independent promotions across the state of Texas. We say, hey, do you want to be a part of the showcase? And they get all excited and they book their own match.
So that's cool.
Yeah. So Russell Rave is doing Dmitry Alexandrov versus Mad Dog Connolly in a dog collar match. That was their call.
Okay.
And there hasn't been a match that Kiefer has ever nixed or anything on the Indie Showcase. So it is a true, real collab that we get with every major promotion in the state of Texas that wants to come down and show the Texas wrestling fans what that promotion has. So it's as much as a big event as it is a promotional tool for some of the other promotions in Texas.
Because what stood out to me was when Baracho announced the Lucha Showcase. I think that was my impression, because Baracho's been doing a lot of the Lucha shows here in Austin. What's unique is, you're right, it is their call, because it was the guys who I've seen at the Cookout or Revenge of the Sick before that. It's completely theirs. And I wouldn't say you guys are hands off, but you guys have the blessing to do that match in particular too.
Yeah. And that's important, because if we put a New Texas spin on a Baracho match, that's not showing you what Baracho's all about.
Right.
If we put a New Texas spin on a Death in the Family match, that's not.
It kind of loses their identity too.
Yeah. And every independent promotion in Texas has their own unique identity.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of great wrestling in Texas. And like we were talking before, there's a flavor for everybody. There's a seat at the buffet for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to an indie showcase, looking forward to the big main event that we have, Danny O'Ryan versus Carter Black,
mm-hmm.
and you see that Wrestle Rave match, and you're like, damn, this is
wholly different.
This is going on in Tomball. I'm going to pull up at the next show. And that's what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, I want, and we want in New Texas Pro, Texas wrestlers and Texas promotions to really break through on the national scale.
Mm-hmm. That's always been like, because that's what I'm noticing. I talked about that with Stashwood United. Like, they're just there to put the wrestlers over, and maybe they'll go down the line, they'll get signed somewhere else. But to have them have this platform of how they're highlighting their skills as wrestlers or luchadors or deathmatch wrestlers, or all of these guys that are there, that's always been like, from what I'm observing from a lot of like the indie promotions, like one day, let's say so-and-so was in AEW. Oh, he was in New Texas? All right. Didn't even know that was a thing. And it leads them to saying, okay, this is where their work was to lead to them being in that level of professional wrestling.
And it's also for the folks that are watching on IWTV who may only watch New Texas shows, but are also the door is open to them for all these other promotions in Texas.
Yeah. So we're going to break down a couple of the matches. The first, and you brought it up with Father O'Day with the I Repent match. And what's interesting too is a lot of the buildup of where this match came to be. Like, give us something about this match that will make it so special in the indie showcase.
Well, Father O'Day has always shown out on the indie showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was my personal favorite match of the year, which was the throw in the towel match between Father O'Day and Just Nick, where Kenny Calypso threw in the towel at the end. Mm-hmm. Tremendous match. Go back and watch it. So he's always shown out on indie showcase. What makes this match special is if Shawn Hendricks loses, Shawn Hendricks, former member of the Eighth Day, the Great Miracle, first ever Texas Contender Series champion. If he loses, he must retire from wrestling forever.
Right.
If Father O'Day loses, the Eighth Day will disband in New Texas. And when matches have consequences, real consequences like that, that's when the intrigue gets turned up to 11.
Mm-hmm.
And Shawn Hendricks was ceremoniously excommunicated from the Eighth Day last year. He was gone for a couple of months, and he came back. And between early February and now, O'Day and Hendricks have been at each other's throats.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, O'Day kidnapped Hendricks' wife. Hendricks has gone through every member of the Eighth Day. Hendricks and O'Day have had a couple of matches in between, but it's all come down to this.
Right.
And this is it. So the one wrestler must make the other wrestler say into the microphone, I repent.
Mm-hmm.
And then let the chips fall where they may after that.
Yeah, because the stakes have been just the way that even just the name itself, the stakes are so high. It can go either way. And I was going to ask this too. I should have asked this too, like, to have these stakes on matches like these, how will that drive intrigue on a show like the Indie Showcase?
Well, with every new Texas show or every Texas Contender Series, we're always moving things along.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're in a state of stagnation, you're not moving forward, you're not progressing, you're not evolving. And what we've done, and this goes as much as for promotions as it is wrestlers, you have to constantly be evolving. If someone writes a book about your promotion or your wrestling career, is every chapter the same? Are we seeing development throughout, or is chapter 11, chapter 12, chapter 13
okay,
just
gotcha.
the same?
Yeah.
So you could see it in our production. You could see it in certainly the match quality that we have now. Things are going to change.
Right.
Things are always changing. And that's the only thing that you could really embrace is the change. So whether it's, we're not going to see the 8th Day anymore. And the 8th Day has been a staple of new Texas Contender Series for 3 years. Or Shawn Hendricks, who has been a Texas stalwart for a dozen years, 13 years.
Wow.
He's been wrestling. Is he going to hang up the boots? Are we not going to see the 8th Day anymore? Those are the stakes.
Right. Because now, well, we'll throw in one more match. That one kind of made me interested. We're going to go back to Baracho Pro with the Lucha Showcase. But to have Lucha on such a bigger scale and in New Texas too, like how much of that Lucha Libre scene is finally coming to relevance past the Laredos and the Austins and the El Pasos. How has the Indie Showcase really bring Lucha Libre down in the Indie Showcase?
Well, Lucha is such a big part of Texas wrestling.
Yeah.
And if you're, big into the more American style of wrestling, then you might not know where to find it.
Right.
There's Lucha Libre every Sunday at Houston Premier Arena.
Yep.
And
I've been meaning to go, but it's like, nope, timing, but you're right.
You know what I mean? But the crowds are different.
Right.
The type of wrestling obviously is different.
Right.
But there is a huge Lucha contingency in the state of Texas. When I was still with MLW, when we would bring in a luchador, there would be a whole different class of fans that would show up for that luchador. Right. Like there is a lucha base in Texas. There's a lucha base in the United States. You just got to know where to find it. And hopefully, and I think this will ring true, that the Indie Showcase is really going to open up a lot of eyes to some of the great lucha talent that we have in the state.
We're going to go straight to the main event. And this is going to be a barn burner.
Yeah.
I've had Carter Black so many times on the podcast that like seeing his comeback has been a tremendous lift for him to be in the Texas wrestling scene. And we have Daniel Ryan, who's won the Texas 8 tournament, and he fought tooth and nail to be in this spot. And this main event has been kind of like simmering for quite some time, leading up to Sunday. How will this main event be such a huge thing to not only New Texas, but to the entire wrestling scene within the state?
I don't even know where to start that one. All right.
We'll be here for a while.
Let's start with the champ.
Okay.
Remember before, moments ago, I had mentioned matches have consequences. We go back to Lone Star. New Texas Pro World Champion Stephen Wolf puts his title on the line against Carter Black's Mask. Mysterious Q at the time.
Yep.
And you know what happened? Both stipulations were fulfilled. Carter Black lost his mask, but he won the match and is the new Texas Pro World Champion. And ever since then, coming back from a terrible knee injury to having just incredible matches with Michael Oku, Starboy Charlie, Adam Priest, and now to face. And he's been getting out there too. It was just released today. He's going to go up to Prestige.
Oh, wow. That's breaking news.
And we just found out on the next New Texas show, August the 31st in Austin, Judas Icarus, the Prestige champion, is coming to Texas.
Oh.
So
okay.
Carter Black is going to Prestige. Their champion is coming over here.
Wow.
So
it's developing.
Carter Black, he's been getting out there just as much as Danny O'Ryan. Danny O'Ryan, we've seen him on West Coast Pro. We've seen him on Action Wrestling. He's going to be a part of that next crop of guys that really blows up. And man, that Texas A tournament, you were there for it. Yep. You saw it. It was a one-night tournament, which sometimes for promoters, that could be very difficult. Sometimes for fans, that could be very difficult too. One-night tournaments are tough to pull off, but every single one of those guys in that tournament could have taken home that big trophy and have gotten that title match. Could have been Epi. Could have been Jay Davis. But it was Danny O'Ryan. And Danny O'Ryan has shown throughout his work over the last, I would say, year and a half now, that he wants it, and he wants it bad. He wants to be the guy. He wants to be numero uno, not just in New Texas, but everywhere. And that's been coming across in his work. That's been coming across on his socials. I mean, you could see that drive. You could see that hunger within Danny O'Ryan. And to be the man, you got to beat Carter Black.
Yep.
And Carter Black, veteran. He's had these matches with Brian Keith back when he had the mask on.
Yep.
Mask off, the matches that I had just mentioned. So it's going to be probably one for the ages. Big match for both of these guys. And we're going to see what happens. As I said, everything's always evolving. Everything's always changing. The makeup of New Texas is never the same.
Right.
So we'll see what I can't wait for that match. I'm really looking forward to that match.
It's already set. I'm already in my seat. I'm already like shaking.
And here's the thing about developing talent too. If 3 years ago you said Danny O'Ryan, you're like the guy in Culture Shock, the guy that could do the springboard, versus Mysterious Q, like okay, but now since Danny O'Ryan has put in that work, he's gotten out there. Now there's momentum. And I was having this chat with O'Day just the other day. It was like, there is nothing more important in wrestling than momentum.
Yeah.
Seeing the name, seeing the face on all these different posters, seeing the clips. Even if you haven't seen someone's match, you know they have momentum. And that's not something you want to stop. And that's not something Danny O'Ryan wants to stop. And the only way to get more momentum is to beat Carter Black at Texas Indie Showcase 5.
Yeah. Because you see a lot, and especially for Danny too, because he had a preview of the larger stage with Ring of Honor and AEW. So on top of what he's done with the Indies, I believed in Danny for a while, even he had this momentum. I kind of sensed, I forgot which match. Oh, it was not the one for Bat City. Danny faced Lil Evil at one of the Inspire shows. I kind of saw the little sparkle in what he's doing. And now that he's already facing someone who is equal, would equal be a better term with Carter Black, or in terms of like their momentum?
As far as momentum goes? Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Because that's what I was thinking too, about like how they're in that same plane of momentum leading up to it. Hopefully, and I was going to ask this too, like we didn't even announce a lot of the matches too. That will have its own equal weight leading up to the show. And there's many matches already too. Do you think that each of these matches will have their own unique way of bringing up the Indie Showcase?
Absolutely. I mean, we just announced, I think earlier this week, Maya World and Brooke Havoc. And these are two wrestlers that, again, they're going for it. They're getting out there. They're getting a lot of momentum behind them. I mean, you mentioned Maya World on X, Twitter, and everyone's all about Maya World. She's only 3 years into the business. Barely. And she has this momentum. And one of the ways that you bring up the stock of two of these wrestlers, like you got two of these wrestlers who I don't think they've had a match before. They may have. I don't think so. Brooke has been killing it. I love Brooke Havoc. She is awesome. And she's making waves. She's been making waves.
Right.
And to go up against someone who has that same hunger, who has that same drive, you're going to get a great match. you know you're going to get eyes on it. You know you got people excited for it. We posted that match graphic, and I can't wait for this match. Exactly. Like all eyes on Texas for this match. So that's another one that's really going to elevate Texas Indie Showcase this year. That's one I'm really looking forward to. And Vert Vixen, Lena Cross. I saw.
Okay. I was going to ask that. Yeah,
I was at that Spark show in Vegas where Lena and Hazuki had their main event, and I had never seen her before, and I was like, oh, "Who is this coming out for this main event?"
Yeah, and
she just tore the house down with Hazuki, and I come back to Houston. I'm like, "We got to get Lena Cross and Vert Vixen in the ring," and it happened, and it's going to happen. And that's another one that I'm talking about drive, talking about momentum, talking about getting yourself out there. Vert Vixen she's a belt collector. She has made it a point to be undeniable this year. And I can't deny Vert Vixen. Look at it. She looks great. Her work has never been better. She's collecting belts. She is the talk of any promotion that she goes to. So that's going to be another one that I'm really excited for. I'm excited for all these matches.
I know.
Indie Showcase is always
so much
my favorite shows of the year.
It's always this year where I'm looking forward to Indie Showcase, because when Kiefer was talking about how that is, I'm like, wow, it is worth the drive to go to Baytown. It's like, okay.
Beautiful Baytown.
Beautiful. I went to the Spark shows, and I'm like, yeah, even when the ring started to set up and I was there for the Spark show a couple weeks back, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a very intimate venue for those matches.
Yeah. I really love the venue. I love the setup that they have there. We're going to pack that place out. Yep. It's going to be such a great atmosphere to be in. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So we're close to wrapping up. And then I tend to do this whenever we end conversation. If you're familiar how I wrap things with conversations. If you were in the same room as an adolescent version of you and you're in the room with him, what would you like to talk to him about?
Buy Bitcoin earlier and don't get in your own way.
Okay.
If you have a desire to do something, because I didn't get into the business until I was 32.
Wow.
33. And I would say don't let anything get in your own way. Get out of your own head. If you want to do something, just do it. Don't doubt yourself, because the only thing the most valuable thing in the world is time. And that's what I would say. That there's like a viral TikTok thing.
Yeah.
Do you want $1 billion now, but you die tomorrow?
Wow. Ooh, okay.
You would say no, absolutely not. So what's more valuable than money? It's time.
Right.
So use that time when you're young. If you're on the fence about doing anything, and not just professional wrestling.
Yeah.
But if you want to be an artist, if you want to try something different, if you want to move across the country and it's viable for you, do it.
Right.
Even if it's not viable for you, even if it's
yeah,
do it. That's what I would tell a younger me.
Okay. So I'm going to pull myself back. So hype us up on Sunday, and you have the floor. Hype the entire show for us within the remaining time that we have here on the podcast.
Sunday, July 27th, Texas Indie Showcase 5. The biggest Texas Indie Showcase we've ever done. You have Father Ode versus Shawn Hendricks. I Repent match. We could see the end of the 8th day. We could see the end of Shawn Hendricks forever. Lena Cross versus Vert Vixen for the new Texas Pro Women's Championship. Two tall, very athletic, very hungry wrestlers going out there just to kill it. Talk about two very hungry female wrestlers. Maya World, Brooke Havoc, going to tear the house down. And then our big main event. Oh, Elimination Warfare. I forgot to mention that. Team Izzy James.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Team Izzy James versus Team Stephen Wolf. We haven't announced all the competitors in that match yet. Keep your eyes peeled to social media or the stipulation of that match either. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We do Elimination Warfare every year. I think we started that about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And it's been a lot of elimination tag team match, high stakes always for those types of matches. Always a lot of fun. Keep your eyes peeled for that. And in our big main event, Carter Black defends his new Texas Pro World Championship against the TX8 winner, Danny O'Ryan. I can't wait. So much more.
So we'll tune into the socials within New Texas. I'll announce stuff on the podcast side of things as well. So be on the lookout. This is the biggest show of the year in Texas wrestling. And with all the promotions that are involved, United is there, Wrestle Rave is there, Barrage Show is there. There's so many promotions that are being highlighted on that Sunday. So thank you, Dan, for having you on. And yeah, we'll end this conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're on Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we're on to the next one.